welcome to Poetry Changes Lives, Poetry in History, Thought for the Day. Here's the book where you can read it day after day. A bit of poetry does you good, you know, does me good anyway. And it's just so much sort of benign influence in a good poem, and there's a really good one I'm going to read today. poetrychangeslives.com is the website where you can get to read even more poems if you want, and sign up for a daily email, completely free if you want to, for that matter. On this day in 1812, I'm talking about a very wonderful and really iconic poet, Robert Browning, who was born on this day. He's one of those unforgettable poets that I used to read in my youth. I was made to remember some of his poems. I'm not sure if people do that these days, but I'm going to read one in a minute. In 1812, he was born and was brought up by very loving but strict parents who gave him a very good education. By the age of 12, he was writing verses himself, and really the rest of his life he never stopped. He wrote a large volume of very memorable poems, mostly of the narrative kind, such as the Pied Piper of Hamelin, which I'm going to read to you in a minute, and poems like How They Brought the Good News from Ghent to Aix, which is a stirring poem of people riding like crazy across Europe, really, and lots of poems of that kind. Wonderful images, they stay in the mind. They say he got the idea for the Pied Piper of Hamelin, which is all about a mysterious piper who's hired to free the townspeople of Hamelin from a plague of rats that infested everywhere. And when he was cheated of his payment for doing so, he took his revenge by luring away not the rats but the town's children in a mysterious tale of skullduggery. It's well worth reading, actually. Robert Browning himself wasn't that well known until he married in his 30s, I think, the more famous poetess Elizabeth Barrett, who was famous for her, particularly her sort of love poems, and she wrote some really beautiful poems, sonnets from the Portuguese. Robert Browning, called her my little Portuguese, though she was in no way of Portuguese blood at all. But she wrote some lovely love poems, sonnets, such as How Do I Love Thee, Let Me Count the Ways, which is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to read Robert Browning's poem, The Pied Piper of Hamelin. Here we are. This is just the beginning, in fact. Hamelin towns in Brunswick, by famous Hanover city. The river Weser, deep and wide, washes its walls on the southern side. A pleasanter spot you never spied. And then begins my ditty. Almost 500 years ago, to see the townsfolk suffer so, from vermin was a pity. Rats! They fought the dogs and killed the cats and bit the babies in the cradles and ate the cheeses out of the vats and stole the soup from the cook's own ladles and licked and spit open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests inside men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chats by drowning their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. A very stirring, memorable series of images in that poem. Of course, the Barrett Brownings never looked back, really. They were a powerful force in the world of poetry and still are to this day. I highly recommend their poems to you. Robert Browning, wonderful narratives. Elizabeth Barrett, more tender tales and sonnets of love. Today I will allow nothing to stop me from finding the good in my life and from putting it to its best use. That's quite an ask, actually, but I'm going to go for it. And I wish you all a good day. Thank you for listening.